Assalamu alaikum and a very good luck to you all my dear students. This is Hayder Ali welcoming you over these online classes, and at the very same time it's my pleasure to let you know that we are very committed to our commitment and discipline to continue our education and academic curriculum on the very pandemic situations for COVID-19, right? So dear learners, today I'd like to share one of my best experiences of visiting a very nice and exciting places, right? The beautifulness of nature. Some days ago I want to visit a beautiful place. On the very place there was a lake. The lake was surrounded by a lot of beautiful trees. The greenery scenery of the trees were very charming and exciting, understand? And most exciting point was that I saw some swans swimming over the glittering water of the pond. The time was just before twilight, right? Twilight means just before the time the sun was setting down, okay? And there is a stream near the place, near the lake. I went to the stream. The water of the stream was flowing with its own self, and a flock of birds, beautiful birds, were flying over the river, right? And at the very far of the river I saw some beautiful catkins moving on the air. They are dancing, the catkins, because the time was autumn. It was autumn time. You can also go to enjoy the beautiful scenery of the catkins by the side of a river, right? So dear learners, today you already understood that what topics I am going to start today in this very session, right? Yes, today we are going to start lesson 4, unit 5 from your book English for Today. Okay, dear learners, here in this very unit on the lesson, the title is A Man Who Loves Trees. Do you love trees? Obviously we all should love trees, because trees is a very important part of our life to exist ourselves in this very environment. Okay, so dear learners, before starting the text or the passage, I'd like to introduce to you with some important words from the text. Okay, here you see some keywords, dear learners. Here keywords: profession. Do you know what is profession? Yes, of course you know. Profession is a particular job, an occupation by which we the people, a man, earns money, right? By which he or she can support his or her family. Okay, so dear learners, profession means here, suppose I'm in teaching profession. You will have the professions of what, engineering, right? You will have the professions of doctor here, like this. So dear learners, here another word you can see: sapling. Do you know sapling meaning? Obviously not. Sapling is a small tree, a young plant just grown up from the seed, right? This is sapling. The next word is passion. You know passion? If we can give example, are you passionate to enjoy the beautifulness of nature, right? Are you passionate? Do you have passion for watching movie? Do you have passion for writing stories, right? Do you have passion for speaking before a lot of audience, right? Like this, the passion means here a strong intention of mind, a strong desire, a strong intention. Okay, so dear learners, next word is, you see, gigantic. Gigantic means, perhaps you don't know, gigantic means very large, very grandeur, very big in size. Okay, actually gigantic, if I give you an example like this: a gigantic tree, a gigantic shape, a gigantic house, like this, a gigantic program. So today I believe you've come to understand the meaning of these very words. Okay, and now after some times we will apply the meaning of these words to understand the text. Okay, so let's get start to read out the text now. Dear learners, here you see the part of the text, a specific part of the very unit 5, lesson 4. Let's get started. At the farthest corner of Bangladesh, there is a village called Tarapur. Dear learners, I want to remind you, while reading a text, you should keep in mind, you should mark some important words in your memory. Okay? You should save some important meaning of the words or some information in your memory just during the time of reading out the text or passage. Here, accordingly, we are marking, but you should not mark in exam questions. Okay? Tarapur, from the first sentence. Dear learners, here you see Tarapur. What is it? It's an information, obviously, because you may face in question MCQ or answering questions. Okay, here Tarapur is the name of a village used here as information. In this place, there lives a man named Kartik Pramanik. Obviously, here is another information for you. Here is a man, Kartik Pramanik. Who is the man? Who is the man? Here, the passage about a man, Kartik Pramanik. So, another information here you should keep in mind, dear learners. Next sentence is, he is a hairdresser by profession. If you mark the word profession, you know it. And a hairdresser. Do you know a hairdresser? Sometimes you go to salon to make your hair cut, to beautify yourself. Okay. Here is a hairdresser. Sometimes the girls go to generally to the parlor to beautify themselves. Okay. So dear learners, here hairdressers is one kind of profession. Okay. So another information is here, but a nature lover at heart. Here is the lesson for you. Kartik Pramanik, by profession a hairdresser, but in his heart he dreams something better, like the very educated people, like you and me. Okay. So dear learners, Kartik Pramanik is a very common man, an ordinary man, but his dreams, his imagination is very different and praiseworthy. Obviously very praiseworthy, because he thought something very exceptional to keep contribution to the society, for the welfare of the society and his environment, right? So dear learners, here next sentence is, his passion, what is it? His passion is to plant saplings which grow into gigantic trees. Now, at this very time, Kartik Pramanik hoped, expected to plant saplings. At the same time, he thinks now, after 20 years, after 35 years, what will be the situation? What will be the successfulness? Okay, what will be success? Success will be, he will see the trees in a very gigantic size. Okay, so dear learners, you see now here, he started planting saplings when he was only 10 years old. Here is another information with number. Sometimes you should keep in mind, if you go through a text, you should keep in mind the specific years, some numbers, some dates of a person, or some dates of an event, okay, or an historical event. Like this, you should keep in memory the information as. Here Kartik Pramanik was thinking just at the age of 10. Here is a lesson for us. You are now over 10, obviously. Are you thinking so, like the very man Kartik Pramanik? Obviously not. But it's time to think something better for the welfare of the society, like the very man model Kartik Pramanik. Okay, for our humanity, for our society. Yes, obviously I do believe he will do. He remembers what his father once told him, my dear son, you can earn the blessing of God by planting trees. Here can you see, here is an inverted comma. That means in grammatical term, it's a direct sentence. Okay, in grammatical term, direct sentence are in inverted comma. That means quotation mark, dear learners. Here is another moral lesson for us, for we the people. What is that? Kartik Pramanik was very determined to follow his father's advice. He didn't disobey his father. He didn't forget his father's advice. Right? So you should also do something, follow to your elders. Okay? So dear learners, here next sentence is, many of the trees are now 35 to 40 years old. Okay? Here you see Kartik Pramanik planted the trees at the very age of 10, and after 25 or 35 years later he could see his success. The greenery scenery of the trees was very exciting. He felt very successful one, Kartik Pramanik, because his trees are now gigantic, right? And at the same time, his gigantic trees came into property, came into the resource of his country, of his surroundings. Okay, this is the story or meaning or theme of the text. Okay, my dear students, again I want to remind you the former part. Here the key words of the text is profession, sapling, passion, gigantic. You already understand the meaning of the very important words, and I think you will apply these words in reading of the text next time. Not only that, you will apply all the words which you have learned from your previous time to speak very smart English, to read out very smart English, to write correct English. Okay, like the English, like the English people, the American, the British, the Canadian. Okay, like these learners. I hope you can. Okay, you can. I do believe. So another information is hairdresser, Trapur, Kartik Pramanik fashion, like this. And now this is the time to take you to practice some questions. Okay, learners, let's go. Here in question number 2, item number 2, you can see answer to the following questions. You can find or face some questions here in your exam. Here you can see the first question is with who, second question is with what. First, I'd like to introduce to you with the differences between the uses of the very two words who and what. Okay, here's very easy answer. The learners, you should keep in mind, if the question is with who, you should reply or answer with the very name of the person. Okay, that means if the question is with who, you should answer with the very identity of the very individuals. Okay, and at the same time, if the question is with what, you should keep in mind, don't forget to use in correct way. If the question is with what, you should or we should answer with the very profession of the very person. Okay, what means profession and who means identity. This is the basic difference between the two words. Here the learners, you should come to know what is used to reply in one's profession and who is one's name and identity. So let's go to write the answer. There is a effective technique here. What's the technique? Now let's know. You should first find out the subjective part from the very question. Okay, use this very question. What is the subjective part? Here, if you look, the man in the passage. The man in the passage is a subjective part. Okay, first write the subjective part, then use verb, then information. The man in the passage is who? Kartik Pramanik. Right? Kartik Pramanik. Very easy answer. This is a very nice technique. You can follow it in your exam while writing answer. Okay. In second question is the same technique you may use here. What's the technique now? The person mentioned in the text. You can use the very words from the question just while writing answer from the questions, then use information from the text. The person mentioned in the text is what? His profession is, you've come to know, hairdresser. A hairdresser, D-R-E-S-S, hairdresser. Very easy answer. Sometimes you make mistake. Okay, and let's come to know the practice the question answer number 3. Here is the question number 3 with why. Another point is to keep in mind what does. Another is he. Right? He is subject here, the learners. He is here subject. No. So here is an important point, that is the use of does as auxiliary verb. Okay, you never forget, you should never ever forget that if the question is with does, you must not forget to add is or es at the end of the verb. That means principal verb. Here the principal verb is like, right? Like. So what did I tell to you? If the question is with does, you never ever forget to use is or es at the end of verb. Okay, here it should be first likes, because almost of the times many of you make these common mistakes in writing or speaking. Okay, so keep in mind, it's common mistake, but it's a very big mistakes, I think. Okay, so dear learners, first first write subject, then you can choose the word from the question. Just he is in the question, now writing an answer. Like is in the questions, writing an answer, but just a change, a little change for using does. Okay, never mistake. He likes. Okay, he likes what? Next part of the sentence you can write, he likes to plant saplings because. Here third point is the question is, if the question is with why, you should use in answering because or for, or another point, infinitive in grammatical term, to and verb present form. Okay, 3 items you can use in answering your questions if the question is with why. Okay, so dear learners, today from this online session you've come to know some meanings of some very important words, right? And second is, how should we read a text or passage? Okay, what are the techniques for reading a passage or text? Okay, and third is what? How to write question answer. Okay, another fourth number point is some moral lesson. Okay, some moral lessons to follow the man Karthik Pramanik as a model. We can do something very extraordinary like Karthik Pramanik. Okay, by planting trees, by raising social awareness. Okay, by helping the people, by standing by the poor people, to help the people in a very winter situations. Okay, like this, many ways to help the people if you want to stand by. So dear learners, I think you have enjoyed the class and learned something new from these very online sessions, and at the same time at the very last of the class I do believe that you are very conscious, you are very careful to cope up with the very pandemic situations for COVID-19. I believe that you are using masks, you are washing your hands, wearing nice clothes, and finally you are maintaining social distance, the crowd. Okay, I hope you a very good luck to you again, and welcoming to our next class. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Allah Hafiz.